Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. jadi ikutan. Pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikut. ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan. Nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak bertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani. Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan. Dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan. Kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, sembarakan Malaysia madani. Sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good day to everyone that has gathered from both University Putra Malaysia and University Brunei Darussalam. Welcome to the STEM Forum of Malaysia-Brunei International E-Mobility. For your information, today's session is hosted by Faculty of Science Student Association, University Putra Malaysia, in collaboration with Faculty of Science Student Body, University Brunei Darussalam, Brunei. Today's forum aims to discuss topics on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics scope, and assist students with science background to plan their future better. If you have any question or concerns, do not hesitate to leave a comment on the YouTube live chat box below, and the panel will answer them for you later. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizer, I would like to express our gratitude for your presence today. I'm Muhammad Faris Iqbal bin Ismail from University Putra Malaysia.
And I am Siti Nur Izzati Firzana binti Tarsat from University Brunei Darussalam. We will be your moderators for today. Before we commence this session, I would like to introduce our panels for today. First of all, we have Dr. Suzili Sairin Abdurrahim. Dr. Suzy is the Deputy Dean of Undergraduate Studies under the Faculty of Education, University Malaya, Malaysia. Hello and good day, Dr. Suzy. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Next up, introducing University Putra Malaysia's very own Dr. Nadia Mat Nasir, who is a senior lecturer under the Department of Chemistry, Faculty of Science, University Putra Malaysia, Malaysia. Perhaps let's hear a few words from Dr. Nadia.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and good morning. I can't wait to see you guys, and I think we can start now. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And last but not least, our third speaker is someone who is also very special from Malaysia's neighboring country. Introducing Dr. Daniel Chikuza, Senior Assistant Professor of Faculty of Science under the Department of Environmental and Life Sciences, University Brunei Darussalam, Brunei.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I still have some technical problem, but welcome. I'm Daniele Chikuza. I'm member of Faculty of Science at the University of Brunei Darussalam. Yeah.
Are you excited for today's session, Doctor?
Yeah, I hope to fix my background, but it's fine.
Okay, so glad to hear that.
Okay, thank you, Zati. Before we go on again, we would like to extend our gratitude to our panels for their time to join us in this talk today. Hopefully, we will gain useful knowledge and learn something new for the sake of our future. Alright, friends, without further ado, I would like to ask the first question to our first panel. Dr. Suzy, can you explain what STEM means and why is it important in today's world?
Okay, thank you very much, Faris, for the question. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, right. STEM has always been a very hot discussion until today. So my background is in science in education. So I'm basically trained as a mathematics teacher. So I've got one foot in education and one foot in the sciences. So STEM to me basically is I look at it as an integrated and interdisciplinary approach to teaching. It encompasses the four areas, which is your science, your technology, your engineering, and mathematics. But if you look very carefully at STEM, it's anchored for between the S and the M. Okay, the science and the mathematics is very important. Okay, so to me, the foundation of what we call STEM here is basically in the area of the mathematics and the sciences. So that's where you get the expansion of your tech. You got technology, you have the engineering coming in. So it encompasses this STEM, as I see it, as an integrated and interdisciplinary approach in terms of teaching, coming from an education background. It's an area whereby when we teach, okay, when we teach the subject of science and maths, for example, okay, we emphasize on problem solving. So when we emphasize on problem solving and critical thinking, this is where the technology and the engineering comes in. So why the technology and engineering is very important, why STEM is important today, is basically because at the turn of the 21st century, we talk about Industrial Revolution 4.0. So when we talk about Industrial Revolution, we talk about the landscape of the economic landscape of the world, and also when you talk about economic landscape, you talk about jobs. So it's very related to you, okay, as you are all preparing yourself to enter the job market. So why STEM is very important, because if we look very carefully at today's world, the landscape has drastically changed. Because when technology comes in, we are very much bounded by technology now these days. There are a lot of things that human beings don't need to do because of repetition there, where the technology takes over. So the question now is, we need to prepare, okay, the workforce, the future of the workforce, to have these skills. And when we talk about STEM, because the emphasis on STEM is because the technology, because due to the advancement of technology, which becomes the platform to move things faster. The engineering comes in is because when you look around you, around us, all the issues and everything, when you talk about engineering is basically trying to find solutions to your problems, real life problems, okay, where it is very grounded in, like I said again, maths and science. So when we talk about STEM here, to me, we're looking at how we want to teach, okay, our content grounded in the science and the maths, all right, okay, but interdisciplinary, we cut across. So when you learn in a university or when teachers teach in schools, when you talk about science and mathematics, you don't just teach content now, okay? So the focus is teaching content, but I think the most important thing is with that content now, what needs to be done is the exposure of the use of this content. How are students going to decide what relevant content that they have learned, okay, couple it together with technology, because technology is a tool that we all have to use. So when we talk about, for example, STEM related careers, okay, when we say STEM related career, it does not necessarily mean that, okay, it has to be engineering. It's very grounded, okay, wholly solely in the science area. But when you talk about even accounting, for example, accounting, okay, you have forensic accounting, which use technology now. So the technology, the T in the STEM there, it's there. Okay, but what comes from STEM, okay, is basically when students go through this journey of being involved in this STEM approach, is coming out as individuals who are critical in thinking, because now you're going interdisciplinary now. You're not just studying science, physics, chem, biology, the contents, you're studying maths alone. But basically what it comes together, okay, if I want to give a more specific example, because I come from a maths background, where is the STEM? We always ask, where is the STEM in maths? It's not just a calculation, but it's talking about making decisions now. So the whole world now, okay, why STEM is so important? Because the nature of this approach is basically teaching students, okay, to ground them in being able to make calculated risk making decisions, which is founded on data, which is founded on information, sound information, right? So so that for me basically is what STEM is to me, and why it's so important, because we live in a world now, okay, not necessarily that it has to be grounded in science, but the world we live in is very advanced in terms of technology. So in technology, you have foundations of science and maths inside it. So I hope that answers your question, Faris.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy, for your input. Okay, moving on to Dr. Nadia. The question is STEM suitable for all students from different courses? What are your thoughts?
Hi. Okay. In some of my opinions, for different courses, yes, actually, it's suitable. It's not only for the pure chemistry or pure biology or pure physics and maths. It also can apply in agriculture or environment, because let's say I'm doing also STEM activity for young learner until to the primary and secondary school, which is I can see that let's say agriculture, they bring, let's say they want to make the fertilizer but from the recycled material, so they can still apply that the science basics about the aerobic gas, about the anaerobic gas, so they can still teach the young learner to encourage them to make the fertilizer. So I think even though I think for me STEM is not only for the pure science but also for the let's say the agriculture and also environment. Another example for environments, this I have collaborate this one lecturer for environment department. They also can apply the activity, like let's say they fly the balloon to check the quantity of the gas. So the student can learn or what the what type of gas that inside our air. So they're using in terms of very easy. The activity is very easy, very fun to attract the young learner. And I think personally for me, when I collaborate with others department, agriculture, environment, chemistry, biology, and physics, I think it's not only for pure science; it also can apply for other courses as well. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nadia. From here, it seems that, like Dr. Nadia said, STEM is also suit for different courses student, such as the one of the most important is agriculture, right? Okay, thank you, Doctor. So, my dear participant, did you know Malaysia has established a policy of 60-40, whereby 60% of students are allocated in student-related courses since 1967. However, the goal is not yet to be achieved to this day, and this issue has alerted not only the government but also institutions where have seen a declining rate of demand for students in science stream. As of 24th of August, News article Berita Harian state that student interest towards science has decreased to 40% compared to other years, which is 66.7%. Such low enrollment to science stream may stem from student inclination to non-science stream, lack of understanding towards science-related subject, difficulty to master science-related subject, and lack of interest in science-related subject in school. Now, for Dr. Daniel, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for the low enrollment of science stream, and what is the effective solution? Uh, s- uh, so I will skip this part because the Daniel is having a internet problem. So I will pass to Izati to give the next question.
As a science student myself, I agree that not a lot of people are interested in this scope of study. So, Dr. Suzy, how can we encourage more young people, especially girls, to pursue STEM careers?
Okay, thank you, Zati. Wow, you're really coming with really good questions. Huh? Okay. Okay, all right. I guess when it comes to the question that you're asking is basically pursuing STEM careers. I guess, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. Is that I think first and foremost, I think understanding the importance of STEM itself, which is basically the importance of learning science and maths. I think that needs to be at the school level. That when you learn science and mathematics, it's just not, because sometimes when you speak to students, sometimes some of them have this thinking that if I were to go into a science stream, then I can only do STEM related careers, which means that I end up being an engineer or a mathematician. It's very science based. Okay, but I think awareness in terms of what's happening in the outside world, I think that there's a gap in terms of students' awareness of the kind of job that's out there. All right, okay, like I said, like even in accounting, even I think Dr. Nadia, maybe you can correct me. I think there's something called environmental engineers now, which you talk about, and when you talk about engineers, you only talk about chemical, that kind of engineering. But now you've got terms coming, the STEM coming in, where you deal with environment as well. So I think, especially for girls, because I guess for girls, basically, when you talk about STEM or related, it's always being engineers, the very typical conventional kind of career. But I think what is very important to encourage first and foremost is actually the awareness. Like I said just now, understanding why STEM is important and actually what is STEM. Okay, because there are some people who I've met who take STEM as, is it a subject? I said, no, it's not a subject. I mean, from my point of view, it's not a subject. It is an approach where we approach, okay, the learning of science and math, but we cut across discipline. Okay, so because when you cut across disciplines, then you see the importance. Then it doesn't stand alone by itself. Not in today's world. Like just now, Dr. Nadia gave an example of agriculture, for example, right? And agriculture now. You need to have science and maths involved here. So I think what is very important. Okay, number one, to answer your question, Izati, in terms of girls. I mean, I grew in an era whereby when you talk about science related jobs, it's very male dominated, right? So I think there could be still some misconceptions. So I think we need to address this misconception at a very young age, that to expose these students that now in today's world, you need to have some kind of STEM understanding, whether you go solely into the 90% base STEM career, or the knowledge of STEM is very related to what you do in everyday life, even in accounting, even in even being a teacher who teaches science. You just cannot just come in and say that I have a science and maths knowledge, for example, forestry, for example. So if you look, it's because the basis of our life today is basically very much encompassed within technology. So that itself, which is the essence or the base of technology, learning and the technology, is actually maths and science. So I guess to answer your question, how do we get more people to be aware? First of all, we need to realize also what are the jobs opportunities out there which are STEM related based, okay, whether it is solely pure or it could be they have some elements, and that is very important. And also when students learn, okay, about science and maths pure in its pure form, learning to understand that that is not something that it's only very related to very specific careers. So I guess it's more towards, number one, get the awareness first, and when you understand something, then you know why you need to do what you need to do. Okay, all right. Thank you, Izzati. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Dr. Suzy. Based on Dr. Suzy's opinion, what I get was that for for us to encourage young people to pursue STEM careers is first to understand the importance of STEM, especially which it's solely focusing on science and maths, and then for the girls, to get rid of that mindset of stereotype being engineering is just male dominant and about chemicals and everything like that. And to conclude all of that is that STEM is not a subject, but is a application. Okay, thank you. For Dr. Nadia, do you feel the same way about this approach, or do you have any additional opinions regarding this matter?
Well, I agree with what Suzy says, that yes, STEM is not a subject, it's an approach. It's like a tools to attract the young learner. Like let's say in kindergarten also, we can attract the kindergarten student to learn about science. They're actually very interested. Let's say I just give very simple example. Like my daughter, they found a stone that when I say this is made up from calcium carbonate, there is some couple inside there. They are very interested to know about it. I can't explain further, probably they can't understand, but we can teach a bit one by one to them about the science to them, so they can attract, they want to learn more about science, they want to join more any activity about science in the future. So I think STEM is like a tools, application that you can apply to any age. You can start from the young learner as well. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Another question for Dr. Nadia. For the current situation in Malaysia, do STEM-related studies viable with our current industries? And do you think an extensive amount of learning materials currently is appropriate for our students' education level?
Okay, in terms of STEM to our industry, okay, I can't say that all industry can be applied, but maybe some of it, which is I can give you example very simple nowadays, which is let's say like in terms of water purification nowadays is very famous. You can see, which is you can also you can apply in STEM, which is the simple example that I can give to you. Let's say water purification by making from the sand and from the stone. So I think from the start, from the school, from the kindergarten, you can teach them to apply then about a simple subject, they say like water purification, and then they can learn about how it apply. Okay, and then in terms of industry, which is they can use more very how to say, it's more expensive, more strong materials to produce a product, to produce a brand. Okay, I think yes, it's still can apply in some industry. I can't say all, but only some, and which is I think is very important as well. Okay, and then in terms of materials that you say, do you think there's amount of learning material currently in our student entry level? Okay, let's say you say in terms of primary school or secondary school, yes, I think is good, is enough, it's more than enough actually. Which is I can see that nowadays school, they already apply activity, a lot of activity STEM, like competitions. Okay, you can do poster or you can do any product in simple DIY to make it in terms of STEM, so that the student can enjoy the activity. In terms of university level, yes, I think is the material is appropriate and also is enough, because you can also apply the let's say you learn in kuliah, in lecture. Okay, like simple spectroscopy chemistry. I talking about chemistry because I'm chemistry. So they say in terms of chemistry, you be using very high facilities, let's say HPLC, to detect something. But you can't say like that to the young learner. So you can see, like let's say last time I told you, we have collaborate this environments, collaborator. They use simple way. They use balloon and they can attract the gas to check the quantity. So that is also, I think that also very related in of primary and secondary school to check the content of the gas. But in university, we use very high facilities, let's say HPLC, to detect something quantity inside a sample. So I think for the material nowadays, I think it's enough for the secondary, primary, for the university level. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. So from Dr. Nadia's answer was that STEM-related studies are viable with the current industries, but only some and not all. And for the materials, in terms of materials, from primary school level to university level, we have enough learning materials. And for an example, in primary school is a competition posters is and DIYing. Yeah, thank you. So I will pass on to Faris.
Okay, thank you, Zati. Okay, now we move to the next question. Okay, firstly for Dr. Suzy, as the Deputy Dean of Undergraduate Study, what advice would you give to students who are considering to pursuing postgraduate studies in STEM? How do you think, Dr.?
Okay, thank you, Faris. I would encourage it because I think first and foremost, understanding the purpose of doing a postgraduate study is very, very important. When we talk about postgraduate study, it's basically a different level compared to your undergraduate. At the postgraduate, you would the purpose would be basically to further enhance your knowledge base. But also because when you talk about postgraduate, I mean, you do have your final year project, you do have elements of research. But when we look at the postgraduate level, it's going deeper into research and looking at data, more extensive data. So my advice in terms of people students who want to pursue, understanding that the purpose of you pursuing the postgraduate is very, very important. Okay, because a postgraduate study encompasses further advancement of knowledge and also the skill, especially in terms of research. Because when we talk about research at the postgraduate level, it's basically dealing with real life situations, addressing and looking at what's really out there. You do it at your final year project, but at a very superficial level, because that is the introduction to research at the undergraduate level. But you upgrade it, you upskill yourself, okay, with your research skills, your research knowledge, all right, and how to address issues out there. In terms of STEM, you would come from a STEM background for you to pursue a postgraduate studies in STEM. So you would be looking at bigger issues that's happening there, real life, because you'll be working with your supervisor, who is actually an academic staff who is already an expert in their field. So the time, okay, that you spend doing a postgraduate study, because now it becomes a little bit narrow and more intense. So what you take out of it is basically with your final product, which is your research, you would be an expert in that particular field or that particular issue that you have chosen to do a research on. I mean, like people always say, you should have a wide spread of knowledge. That's correct. But at the same time, we do need experts. So to be an expert, we need to narrow down. So this is where your postgraduate studies comes in. You select an area which is, I always tell students, choose an area of interest. Okay, you must be interested, because if not, you will waste the postgraduate journey. All right, so choose an area which is of interest, which is close to your heart, because then you really delve into it and you will be passionate about, right? And then you'll be an expert, because that's what you love doing. You are concerned about that area, you're concerned about solving issues, or maybe providing better ways of addressing what's happening in the field there. And that's what we need. So we need all these little experts to come together to look at the big situation. So my advice for students who are pursuing, like in UC Malaysia, the faculty, whenever students come and ask, advice on postgraduate, I always say, number one, be clear about the purpose of you doing a postgraduate studies, because it takes a lot of commitment, okay, and you must love what you're doing, because if you love what you're doing at postgraduate level, you will just do it effortlessly, right, Dr. Nadia? If we really very passionate, so choose something you are passionate about, all right,
Yes,
and
yes,
do, and you'll be an expert. And my advice is, first of all, find out, okay, the reason why, what the postgraduate study encompasses in your area, like STEM, what it needs, find the area, identify the area that is of interest to you, and then you will be able, all right, to contribute significantly in that field. Okay,
yes.
so that's my advice. Thank you,
Yes, I,
Faris.
I, I'm totally agree with Dr. Suzy about the postgraduate. You want to choose your research area, you must patient about it. You must have your objective. First, you must have the objective. Why you want to proceed your study to postgraduate study? You don't say that I just continue because I have nothing to do. You cannot say like that. If you say like that, once you have the, how to say, downside, you're going to give up and walk away, and it's going to waste time for your life. So you must have the patience to do the science, do the research instead of postgrad student or as a researcher. Okay, I totally agree about that to Dr. Suzy. I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
because we went through that journey. We went through that
Yes,
journey
yes, we do.
together.
We
Yeah. So
yes,
we supervise students. So we have seen students who think that they understand. I mean, not to make it sound scary. It is very important for you to actually continue studying. All right,
yes,
because knowledge, you need to always. I always say the 3 U's: the upgrade, update, upskill. Must always do that continuously, all right, whether you're a teacher or you're not a teacher, but as a human being in today's world where things are moving very fast. But be passionate about it and do it because you want to do it, because you love doing that, and you're very concerned about this area that you have decided to do your research. Okay, so that's my advice. Go into it, but be ready. Okay, it is a journey. It's a quite a tough journey, but a tough journey teaches you many things
yes,
that are
yes,
going to be,
yes,
that are going to be very useful for you in the future. And it also, okay, what we say, it also nurtures your personality as well, okay, where
yes,
you learn to be diligent, you learn to be patient, you learn to solve problems. So it is a good journey to go into, but be mindful and understand why you want to do it, and love what you're doing. Thank you.
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy and Dr. Nadia, for your very uh, good advice. Okay, refer to Dr. Suzy and Dr. Nat. The most important thing before we continue to pursue postgraduate study is, firstly, we need to understand the purpose or the objective of postgraduate studies to enhance our knowledge or something like that. Next, the second most important thing, we need to choose our own passion, because as Doctor said before, postgraduate is a tough, is a tough journey for us, right? Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay, the next question is for Dr. Nadia. Is continuing education as valuable as starting a career in terms of knowledge and experience gained for students in STEM degrees? What do you think, Dr. Nat? Yeah. Dr. Nadia.
Okay. When I heard this question in terms of continuing education, is it mean proceed in more higher level? Is that what you mean? So if you say like that, yeah, yes, of course, is I agree with that. Is a very valuable for starting career. Okay, let's say I go to academic. Let's say academic like me. So it's very important for me to pursue to the next level. Okay, for during degree I learn about theory and I do lab work also, the hands-on skill. But to compare to my postgrad study, I will learn more about the skill. Okay, let's say I'm in synthesis organic chemistry. When people think about synthesis, they thought it's very simple, but actually it's not. Is you must have the skill how to mix up few chemical to produce a drug, to produce a compound. Let's say like that. Okay, so for me, the career, the knowledge and the experience, how to handle it is very important. And when you do when you pursue study higher level, you will learn more, not only theory, but also you will learn how to solve problem, critical thinking as well. You will think how to do this experiment, how to produce the product, something like that. Okay, and then in terms of to the student STEM degree, of course. Okay, let us say STEM is not subject, is a tool, is applications. Of course, the simple thing, let's say density, okay, we try to approach to the student about density, let's say sugar rainbow. You can teach the student that different concentration actually can give you different density. So for me, the knowledge, the experience, you when you learn at high level, you can teach to the young learner about STEM, interesting, fun, and very very interesting. And then I think for me, I agree with the education, continued education at high level is good for your knowledge and experience. Okay, because when people say that if you keep continue studies, you don't have the experience. No, that's not true actually. When you proceed your study at higher level, let's say you do the research, you do the experiment, you gain the knowledge, you gain the experience, how to do the experiment, how to produce this product or this compound or this drug. Okay, so for me, education, continued education is it give you not only knowledge, also experience. For me, my opinion.
Okay, Dr. Nadia, thank you for your opinion. How about you, Dr. Suzy?
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Nadia. Like I said, it starts off with the understanding of the purpose, the objective of doing your postgraduate degree. You can, upon graduation, your basic degree, your first degree, you can go out to work to gain experience, to see, like Dr. Nadia said, at the undergraduate level, we make sure we leave you with strong conceptual understanding of the knowledge of the field that you want. Okay, plus of course we do have the application, but if you were to venture and want to start work first, so that you want to explore in the real world, where you learn how to use your knowledge, then by all means good. But like what Dr. Nadia said, there comes a time where, like I said just now, knowledge is always expanding. It's always new knowledge come in. So you cannot, in today's world, you cannot just be satisfied like I graduated my degree in 1995. If I were to just stop there and not do anything, and with now I started teaching with chalk, now I've got to teach my students how to use technology more like they are teaching me. I have to go back. All right. I actually to share with all of you, when I became a teacher upon graduation, I got excited. Finish my degree, no need to study, go and work, right? But when I went out to work after a year or so, then I realized I cannot stop here, because as a teacher, I need to be grounded, and I need to know a lot more what's happening for me to teach my students. So I went back to school. I went back to further my education. Why? With the purpose that I want to know more. Then I realized, Dr. Nat, if you can correct me, what I realized that when I did my master's, things that I thought I understood at my undergraduate level was not understood correctly. There were gaps inside there where at that time, at that level, it was fine. But if I were to continue working 10 years down the road and kept to that understanding, then it will be quite flawed. So the postgraduate level, as we progress, it's actually like we discussed, to enhance and sometimes even to refine and clarify. Okay, when I learned the theory of learning theory when I was undergrad, that was what it was like. When I learned maths, we never had graph theory. Now we have to teach students graph theory. When I did computing last time, it was like C language or something, where I have to type in how to do a build, But now you talk about all kinds, Python, whatever, So postgraduate, furthering your studies at what level is very important, like Dr. Nadia said. Okay, at a certain point, you need to go back to school, all right, and to enhance further so that you will be able to address the changing world very quickly out there. All right, so it is important for you to go back to school at some point in whatever form. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy and Dr. Nat. Okay, from here, I can conclude that continuous study is very important in academic, because we can improve our skill, such as in laboratory, to manage our own experiment and handling tool. And also because our knowledge always keep expanding when we learn something, right? Okay, now for the next question, for Dr. Nadia, from your perspective, how do you see the impact of emerging technologies such as quantum computing and gene editing will shaping the future of science and research?
Wow, that's engineering, something like that question. Physics, quantum. That's very, very difficult for me to answer. Well, for industry, right? And that's why, as I say, to apply the STEM to all industries, not all you can apply actually, but probably some. Okay, and the one that you say the quantum, everything that one. Very difficult for me to answer. I think that's more suitable for engineering's background. But for me as a chemistry, of course it is, because I just take a simple thing. Okay, let's say quantum ni kan, physics, the computer, everything. I think that one also apply, right? So in industry is more on making a product, right, Dr. Zizi? They're more interested of making product industry. And we as a researcher, academic, we are making the research, we give the result, we give the data to them so that they can make a product from our data actually. Okay, all that phone, our technology phone, everything there. So actually it's come from the research, it come from research, it come from a knowledge theory actually. So if you say about quantum computer to apply industry, of course, for me as chemistry, of course, we is very important. But if you want to more detail, I think you need to ask someone background physics or engineering. It's very difficult for me to answer in terms of as a basic science chemistry, something like that. Yes. Thank you, Faris. Very interesting question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadia. Okay, how about you, Dr. Suzy, about this question? Doctor, you not open your mic.
Okay, sorry. Quantum also, like me, I'm a maths person, so I've got less. I don't have much of an excuse because maths and physics kind of like jive together. But still, I guess I guess what your question is basically is talking about cutting edge technology. You're talking about cutting edge technology, right? The importance of cutting edge technology. I guess when you talk in terms of cutting edge technology, it is important. That is why you need STEM, the so-called STEM people in the industry. And like what Dr. Nadia has said, that this is where the university and the industry work together, because our time is a lot spent on doing research, where we come up with, if you were to do this, what is the theories coming in, we get to do the application of the theory, but the results that come out is what we share with the industry, because they are hands-on, they are in the real world. Okay, so they will take whatever research that we have, okay, and they will put it into context, and they will modify it. But the difference is that we use the theoretical aspect of it, and we come up with fundamental principles. But the industry people will take, okay, the outcomes, and they will turn it into reality. That's my my take on that. So STEM, okay, is very important. I mean, the driving point here is STEM is very important, whether you are at, like Dr. Nadia and myself, at the site where we are dealing with the simple application, but the product driven aspect is where the industry comes in, because they don't have the time and the luxury of time to sit down and figure out, if I change this and that, I put in a different chemical. No, you tell
No,
me, you use this chemical, right, Dr. Nadia?
no,
Like, you tell
they
me.
don't have time for that. They're more
No.
product.
Yeah, product. Okay. So now, if my phone, last time when I started teaching, when the handphone came up, it was the Phua Chu Kang telephone, the really big one, where you have to pull the antenna out, right? And then you have cutting edge research coming, saying that, hey, you don't need such a big handphone, it can be small. So that goes out, and the industry people comes up with the product. So STEM is very important, whether you like it or not, because I never in my life would ever imagine that I would actually be able to talk to people like this. Never. All right. Thank you, Faiz. Hope you answer. You gave a really touch question, Dr. Nadia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy and Dr. Nadia, for impressive advice. Okay, from here I can see that from both doctor perspective, said that the impact was huge for future science and research for STEM, right? Okay, now we're moving to the next question, and I pass to Izzati.
Thank you so much, Faris. For Dr. Suzy, how do you suggest students go about networking within their chosen industry and building relationships that can lead to job opportunities and mentorship?
Okay, all right. Thank you, Izzati, for the question. Because I deal with undergraduate students, I think when you are still a student, your opportunity is really, really wide because you have a lot of activities. You have a lot of projects, through projects. And I think you need to maximize this part of being a student, that the luxury of full time being able to do whatever you want to do. And this is a time where I think through your projects, you have a lot of projects going on. And then I think there are competitions and sometimes internship. There are internships, right? There are relevant internships which you can actually do even during your break, your semester breaks. There are a lot of, sometimes I get emails from companies and all that who actually offer, we have internship for a month if you have students. So I guess uh, when you are a student, use this opportunity, okay, to actually be involved in projects or even come up with your own projects. I think that's what all students in UC do. They will suggest projects and they will do this project and they will link it to industry. So the university has linkage. We all, I think UPM, they have a section which is student affairs, where they can link you to industry, and sometimes industry will come in and ask for collaboration. So I think number one, first of all, you need to be active, be involved in projects, in activities that are of interest to you, where you see yourself pursuing in that area. And number two, in terms of internship, I think internship is really, really good. All right, where you can spend a month or so, even 2 weeks, to be actually, you see, when you do projects, it's more still within the scope of the university environment. But if you were to do internship, you're entering the industry. So I think that is very important, because it's a different ball game when you enter the industry. And when you enter the industry, or when you do projects with the industry, with the people in the industry, this is where your collaboration skill comes in. We always hope that our students are able to communicate. This is where you have your 21st century skills, your communication, your critical thinking, your collaborative skills, and your creativity. Use those for you to start, okay, networking. So it's very good at a stage where you have an opportunity to see them, network with them. And maybe when you upon graduation, because today's world is not about me applying for jobs, not like the time when I graduated. It's more to about a world of job creation now. You're talking about job creation now. So sometimes we cannot sit down and actually wait for jobs to come, because I have children who are the millennium kids, and my children tell me that when they go for job interviews, it's not like last time we go to job interviews, we take one file, we sit in, they call, and then they'll just ask us questions. No, they'll put you in a group, you have a problem to solve, then they want to see the characteristics. Okay, so I think you need to find opportunities to actually explore and be exposed to the industry. And if you get these opportunities, keep in contact with them. And we're talking about job creation now, and I think a lot of you young people now are creating jobs as we are speaking. Okay, all right. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suzy. From your perspective, in what I can say is that you have to maximize the luxuries of us being a student and do much group projects, internships, or even come up with one, and be more active and involved and relate it to their chosen industry. For next, what are the challenges and opportunities associated with pursuing a scientific career in academia versus industry, and how can students make informed decisions? Let's hear some opinions from Dr. Nadia.
Okay. Okay. When I hear this question, for me, it's more like subjective. Okay. For a person, okay, to pursue is either academic and industry, isn't it? Okay, and so you see, how can student make informed decision about this? For me, it's very subjective. Okay, the challenge and the opportunity in terms of academic and industry. as I want to say that as Dr. Suzy say that you must have your own passion, what you want to go to further in your life. Okay, so let's say about challenge in terms of academic. Of course, to be as an academic, you must have more knowledge in research, which you must continue your master and PhD, which is, as Dr. Suzy say, the journey to finish the master academic, master PhD is not easy. You have up and you have down sometimes. Okay, and the opportunity, of course, in terms of academy, you gain more knowledge, gain more skills, not only in theory, that you can apply also in your hands-on experience. Okay, so it's really difficult for me to answer this. It's more subjective actually. And for industry, let's say you want to pursue on industry, I think they also have the challenge and the opportunity. Okay, let's say industry, that what I know with my collaborator is they have the challenge that, as I see industry more on product, so they have the challenge that how to make something that demand in the market area. So they have this one thing that they want, they must do as the customer want it, and how to innovative the product. Okay, so I think that is one of the challenge for the industry area as well. And the opportunity is for industry, of course. After they make a product, they have the big opportunity in terms of as a business, of course. Okay, so very difficult for me to answer this one. I think both have the pro and con, the challenge and opportunity. However, it's up to you. What do you want in your life? Okay, and as academy, as me, why I choose academy, because I love teaching. I love my student. I think Faris also want if my student for organic and organic too, and I love teach. Okay, so if the student asks me to question anytime, I try my best to answer, because that is my passion, teaching. And I do like research, which is I like CTCs. I do like work as well doing the lab, and I want to choose academic because I want to do my own research with my team. So I want to decide which research I want to go. But what I know from my collaborative industry, they have this demanding market that they must do as a researcher as well. They have the demanding market they have to achieve. They must make the product. I think for me personally, the challenge, the opportunity in terms of as a scientist, us as a scientist, in terms of academic and industry, I think it's very subjective. It depends on you. Okay, for the students, it depends on you. You must think what do you want actually first, as Dr. Suzy said, what is your passion actually. Okay, so that is my opinion in terms of academic and industry. Both have the challenge actually. Anything you realize have the challenge. Right, Dr. Suzy?
I agree with Dr. Nadia.
Okay, I think I hope it's specified for the student as a scientist, as a science student, if you want to hear the challenge academic and the industry. Okay, both have the challenge, both have the opportunity. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. I will pass on to Faris now.
Okay. Given from all of your perspective, I can see that we have a clear view of this issue at hand. However, how about we ask what participant want to say about this? Therefore, moving on to our Q&A session, participant may type out your question in the chat box and we will pick a few to be answered by our panels. So the first question for Dr. Suzy, from Shahira Izati, uh, she stated that to any panels, do you believe that are only meant for certain people where it require interest, or can we train students to be into STEM? What your opinion, Doctor?
Okay, thank you very much, Shahira, for the question. Okay, in anything that we do, we cannot force people to do what they don't understand or they don't have interest in. So, is STEM only made for certain people? No. Okay, it's the same thing when people ask me, is mathematics only smart for smart people? No. But I think what is important is even with a little bit of interest that someone has in a certain thing, for example, STEM, if it is identified and given the proper support and guidance, this interest can grow. Okay, this interest can grow. And the other thing is to create interest, for example, because I don't know anything about, let's say, for example, forestry. I don't know anything about forestry. I'm a science person. But if I were to attend or talk to somebody, okay, who provides me information that suddenly triggers an interest in me, because now I know something about forestry and I am interested in it, it can be pursued. So what I'm saying is that there's nothing in this world that is specifically only made for certain group of people. What it comes down to basically is that, number one, do you understand, or do you have an awareness? Have you come in contact with STEM, for example? All right, or the way you view STEM, could it have been a bad experience, and therefore that has made you not see in something positive, as something. For me, the question, I don't believe STEM is only made for certain people. Okay, anything requires interest, so STEM also requires interest, and with interest, given the proper guidance and exposure, interest can grow. All right, interest can grow. So I hope that answers Shahira's question. Thank you.
How about you, Dr. Nadia? What your opinion about this question?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? The
Uh,
question?
the question is, do you believe that STEM are only meant for certain people where it require interest, or can we train students to be into STEM? What your opinion, Doctor?
Okay. All right. So is it mean for the certain students and how to interact the student? Is it like that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to say a certain student. I mean, it's for everybody. As I said, my first question I got is for all courses. It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily for the pure science. Also can apply for agriculture and environment. So I think no, not only for certain, okay, not for certain people, and to attract the student. STEM is one of the platform. I say STEM is not a subject, it's a platform, it's a tool that you can attract the young learner to more interest in the science, so that they will choose science background in the future. So yeah, I think that's the one of the STEM is one of the application, one of platform that we can use to attract the young learner to choose science, so that they can see, well, science is very interesting actually. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadia and Dr. Suzy, for a great answer. Now we're moving to the next question. Okay, for Dr. Suzy, how would you suggest for students to find good topic for final year project in mathematics field? I find it hard to come up with topics where the research is authentic. What your opinion, Doctor?
Okay, thank you, Ainun. Okay, there is a difference when you talk in terms of mathematics and mathematics education. Okay, when we talk about mathematics, we're talking about the content area. Okay, so when you want to look for a final year project in terms of, let's say, the mathematics content, the pure content of mathematics area, so maybe that one you need to look at the knowledge base, what's going on. All right, maybe how mathematics is being used in certain other fields of knowledge. But if you talk in terms of mathematics education, all right, meaning that the use of mathematics, the learning of mathematics, both you look at issues. Because although I have a maths background, but my main area is in terms of mathematics education. But in terms of pure mathematics, you would have to go to be, for it to be very, what we say, conceptual. All right, okay, maybe looking at certain theories and maybe the use of a certain mathematical content in physics, for example, in a particular physics theory. So how would you find good topics? You need to find out what's happening. Maybe you look at past final year projects that students have done, and maybe you want to expand on it. All right. In terms of education, if you see somebody doing a project on, let's say, challenges in learning fractions, for example, or now you want to look at the certain way of introducing a certain way of teaching, or there is a special technique, then we are addressing issues. So final year project basically are looking at in terms of expansion of knowledge. Maybe you see your senior has done a particular topic, and now there is a certain section which can be expanded and you would like to add on. So that's one way. Or you look at issues and challenges or problems that are current. Okay, but please bear in mind, because you are at undergraduate level, so you need to understand the depth. Sometimes I find my students here, they do final year project, it's like doing their masters. You know, it's like, wow, why so difficult for them to do? Because you need to understand your scope. So I hope this helps Ainun to sort of like answer your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy. How about you, Dr. Nadia? In mathematics, but Dr. Nadia in chemistry field, right?
Not understand chemistry.
It's okay. So we're moving to the next question.
Yes.
Okay. This question for Dr. Nadia. How do you?
I straightforward go to telemedicine. I read about telemedicine. Thank you, Faris. I actually
Okay.
quite interesting also to when I read this question. Sorry, Faris, you want to read the question first, or I can just answer straightforward?
It's okay. You can answer it.
Actually, telemedicine. What I read just now. Okay, I mean the telemedicine is like a platform, like let's say we a lecturer, a platform online, Google Meet or Zoom, we use that one to teaching, right? But the telemedicine is a platform, a doctor to contact with the patient from the far, right? Am I right? That's what the telemedicine, what I understand. I think this is a very good, this is a very good platform. Mostly what happened to us last time during the COVID-19, it's really difficult for me to communicate face-to-face people. So telemedicine is one of the platform to contact. Okay. So you say, how do you wish to field of healthcare we advance in STEM? Okay. As I say, STEM is a platform to attract the student to do the science. Okay. So of course, in healthcare, and of course, how to say this? It's very, maybe they can do some STEM is like a fun platform to teach us science, so they can apply that fun science to innovative any technology that related to healthcare. Okay, so let's say the telemedicine, so they can do this. Okay, so I think this is a very good platform. Okay, in terms of healthcare, the telemedicine. However, you need to find the correct doctor, because we have so much fake doctor right now. So you must make sure there's a real doctor. Okay. So it's quite difficult to answer in terms of really deep in healthcare. I'm not a healthcare people, but I do research drug, which is I make it's a very early stage. But in terms of doctor, I can't say very well. But for me, opinion, the telemedicine platform is very good. You can communicate from, even though you are from far the patient and the doctor. Okay, it's very good for patient who has no ability, no facility to come, so they can contact through that platform. I think that's a good tool. Okay, all right. Thank you, Faris.
Okay. Thank you, Nadia. Dr. Nadia.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Do you have any question? Okay, for the next question, for Dr. Suzy, do you think it's vital for us, especially fresh graduate, to have more than 3 years experience of working before pursuing postgraduate studies? What your opinion, Doctor?
Okay, thank you, Faris. Okay, to answer Farhana's question, I think it is important for fresh graduates to have some working experience. Okay, more than 3 years, that's subjective, but at least 1 year, 1 year of working experience. To make it a bit more sound, 2 years is fine for me. All right, 2 years is fine, but you need. I would recommend working experience before going into postgraduate studies, because, like what we were talking previously, postgraduate level, it's not knowledge based. It's very much hands-on. That means now applying the knowledge that you have, at the same time upgrading, adding on to your knowledge and using it, trying to see which knowledge, how to use knowledge to solve problems, to address issues and issues that are real, okay, that are current and real. So if, for example, I mean, there are instances whereby, okay, you do a continuous journey. That means after your undergraduate, you straight away go into your postgraduate. It's still fine. But what I've noticed is, okay, through supervision and all that, what I've noticed is that when they meet up in the class with students who have some working experience, they tend to feel a bit lost because they don't have that experience, seeing the real world. Okay, I'll give you a simple example. Being a teacher. Okay, we learn all the theories of how to be a teacher. We teach our students everything. Okay, all right. But when they go to school or wherever they teach, then they realize that they must have something extra, which is the ability, all right, to solve, to be critical and to solve the problem. The knowledge that we provide them, the knowledge and skills we provide them with is just a framework for them to refer to. But how it works is where experience comes in, all right? For experience, because for example, we say, okay, when a student is unruly in class, okay, you need to, for example, some people will say, okay, we need to punish them. But how severe is your punishment? Is it necessary for you to punish because you got to see the student that you're going to punish? Is there a reason for the student to be? So these are things that you need to make decisions, and that comes through experience. So with that experience, when the student, when the teacher comes back into university, all right, to pursue the postgraduate. So when the teacher tells, when my students come in, doctor, I want to try this method in teaching algebra, for example. So I said, where do you get this idea from? Because when I was teaching, I realized these are the problems, and I was thinking, you know, I tried this out. So it seems quite interesting. So now I want to pursue, okay, a research, which is an academic exercise where the methodology is sound, so that when I say, yes, my method works, people's going to ask me, who said so? What's your proof? What's your evidence? Look, I have done a research which has got expert feedback. It's not just me being shot sendiri, you know, I will do, no. Because it is an academic work which has been seen by experts. So for me, working experience is important. It will help you, because when you sit in a class with people who have been in the industry, and they will tell you, no, that's not what it's really like. Yeah, theoretically it's fine, but in this situation, yes, in that situation, no. But for me, if I didn't go out to work, I don't have any situation. All I have is that this is what I learned in class, this is what I know, but I never had any experience. That I think the same thing for Dr. Nadia as well. We go to the industry as well. So I think, to answer this question, working experience, it's important, it helps, but whether it's more than 3 years, it's subjective, all right? But I think at least 1 year of experience working is important for you to understand and see the real picture of, wow, this is what I learned. But when I go to the real world, nothing is exactly like that. So I have got to make modifications, and I have got to learn to be a good problem solver based on what I have. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy. So we're moving to the next question. For Dr. Nadia, the question states that I personally find STEM subject difficult. Do you have any advice on managing burnout and stress in studying? What are your opinion, Doctor?
Yeah, when I read this question, I was like, STEM subject is difficult. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. I think all subjects is difficult. I was like that. Okay. Do you have any advice on managing burnout and stress in studying? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. How to say this as a student? Of course, I have been there before as a student. Burnout. Yeah, you learn at the lecture hall and like that. Okay. Probably, how to say this? I can't force you to make it. It's fun, but probably you learn at the lecture, but also maybe you can how to say, maybe you must have the a group discussion with your friends, okay, I think a group discussions is very helpful for you. Like last time I did last time. Instead, I just understand for myself. We have these 5 for 5. We, including my roommates, we study together, okay, so that we make it, the learning is fun, okay, and stress is studying. Oh, that's very, I feel. I'm so sorry to hear that actually. Okay, stress. Okay, maybe you can sometimes maybe you can put aside for a while the one that you learn in lecture. Maybe you can join an activity that's still any program like now Faris and Izzati join, and it's still fine. It's not something in lecture, it's not chemistry related, but you still learn how to handling a problem, right? Faris, Izzati, right? Let's
Yeah.
say we miss one panel right now, so I know you are a bit stressed right
Yeah.
now. So you know how to handle it. So you learn about in terms of how to say this. It's a skill, right? It's what is it called? Dr. C, there's one term we call. It's not something you learn at in the lecture hall, but you learn outside environment. It's
Yeah,
more
the,
like
the, the soft skills. They're
soft
soft skills.
skills, soft skill, yes. You learn about the soft skill. So I would suggest to you this one person. If you think you have difficult in you make it, so maybe you can discuss with your friends, study together. Let's say I'm doing my lecture organic too, like I ask Faris, during we discuss the question, I always ask my student to make a group, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Make a
Yes.
group. I never let them stay alone. I say make a group 2 3, solve this problem together. I say try help each other so that you can feel the fun to solve the mechanism organic and one and organic two. And about the stress, probably you can join any activity, very the health positive at the activity, positive program right now, like Faris and Izzati join right now. But still, you can learn something soft skill. Okay, I think maybe one of my advice as a student last time during my bachelor, that's what I do. That's what I do as a last time as a student. Okay, all right. I hope this is help for you. Don't be stressed. Enjoy
Uh,
yourself. Bachelor is the best time in my life actually. Compared to master PhD. Master PhD, I was in my lab. Buat eksperimen je kerja. That's all I do. But bachelor is the best time in my life actually. Please enjoy your life there. Okay?
okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadia. So for Dr. Suzy, since you are a teacher in Faculty of Education, do you have any advice to manage this burnout and stress in studying?
I think a lot of students, which I see from my experience when I deal with undergraduate or students generally, or myself as a student as well, we get stressed out because we always worry about achievement. I think that's the one that stresses us most of the time. I mean, we do have stress in terms of we struggle to try to understand. But for me, when I reflect back as a student, I always get stressed out when I feel that when I look at achievement, okay, I need to get my A's, I need to get this, I need to, it becomes a stress. And when I can't understand that itself becomes a factor which later on I will think is going to affect my grades. Okay, so everything goes back to how, but like Dr. Nadia said, it's very true. When we look at our journey until our PhD, every journey is very unique. But at the undergraduate level, that is the best time of your life because everybody is around you and we are all the same. But when you do your masters and your PhD, everybody's different. Okay, at different levels of their life. So how do you manage burnouts and stress in studying is basically like what Dr. Nadia has said. We study in groups, but of course when we study in groups, it's not like half an hour you study and 3 hours you'll be gossiping away and talking about what's the latest. It always happens, you always digress somewhere else. You start off talking about chemistry, maths and everything, and then suddenly somebody just starts and then 2 hours you're like, oh, you did 3 hours of studying, but it's only 1 hour studying, 2 hours of chatting, which is also good. It is also good. It shows that you're very stressed to the extent that you don't want to discuss about it. But I think to manage your burnout is basically to always be with friends, people who understand what you're going through. I think that's very important. And also, I mean, I don't know, sometimes some people don't agree with what I'm going to say, but I always tell myself, I even tell my children, I said, when you study, getting the A's, getting good grades is very important. But if you were to enjoy studying, you enjoy learning. I mean, you're going to learn tough things, but you have friends together, and you know, you understand that that is my capacity, but I'm trying my best. And if you have that enjoyment a little bit, somehow you will do well because you remember. When you enjoy something, you remember it. But if you don't like something, you can sit down 3 hours, you can stick all the formulas at the side of the bed, which I used to do before, but it doesn't go in. So you still won't be able to grasp the knowledge. You still won't able to do well. So I think what is important, what Dr. Nadia said, is that you must have some feeling of enjoyment of what you learn, no matter how tough. And the best part of being undergraduate is that it's just not you. It's me and the rest of the 35 people in the class having the same problem. So I'm normal. So it's okay. We can be happy. Let's suffer together. Okay. All right. So that's my advice on managing the burnout. You're not alone. All right. Okay. And learn to enjoy the journey, even though the difficult journey. But when you graduate, you will remember. I think Dr. Nadia, oh, how come I overcome that? Really? You'll get out of it. We survived. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with Dr. Suzy. Yes. Just don't be so burnt out and stressed. As I said, maybe you put aside a bit the one that you study in the lecture. Maybe do any activity, make yourself fun. And yes, you must be surrounded with people around you, your friends, your positive friends is very good. Even that we apply that when you work. Right now, as a lecturer, I have the clique that I can go. We will go lunch together. We talk about research. Actually, sometimes we have discussions. So you must have someone to talk about. You must have your own clique. Don't be alone. If you stress, please be surrounded with your friends. Find the correct friends you need. Find the correct environment that you need. Okay, so this person. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I want to add one more. If you are very stressed out, don't continue doing what you're doing because it's not going to do you any good. Just put it aside, leave it for a while, okay? Do something else. 2 days before an exam, my friends and I, we used to go like do something, not nothing to do with our studies, just to chill out and just to calm ourselves down. 2 days before exams, this is final exams, so we used to go out and have lunch, sit down, chit chat, just to relieve everything and empty all the worries, everything. So rejuvenate, and then after we get back to studying. So it's like, when you study, it's like you're a jar, you're stuffing everything. At that point, it's already full. So you need to relax to pour out everything. It's empty again, and then you put it back in. So if you're stressed and it's not working, don't waste time on it. Do something else. Things will be hard. Nothing is easy, but success it comes at it doesn't come at an easy price, but it's worth it. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy and Dr. Nadia. From here, I can conclude that 3 main point that we as a student can apply to manage our burnout. Firstly, we need to find a good circle or environment. Next, we need to enjoy the flow, enjoy the process since we are in the bachelor. And lastly, when we burn out, we can do something else to remove and take time to recover our study. Okay, now we move to the next question. Okay, in the era of rapid technology advancement, how does the institution prepare STEM graduates for the changing job market and emerging field? What your opinion, Dr. Suzy?
Okay, right. For me, maybe this is more relevant in terms of Dr. Nadia later on, because in the field but for me, because I'm in education, we are involved in preparing teachers who are able to teach, okay, subjects that are related to science, maths, and so forth, right? So how in the era of rapid technology advancements, how does the institution prepare? So for us, we prepare teachers. So therefore, in our classrooms, in our lessons, we integrate use of technologies. Our lecturers use technology to teach, because we always believe that we have to walk the talk. If we need to train teachers who are going to go out, okay, and need to use technology, then we need to use technology in our classrooms, because then they need to explain experience what it's like when you are in a classroom where it is very highly technology inclined, so that when you go out and teach in the real world, you understand now how your students feel. Okay, what are the challenges that you will face when you want to use technology, for example. But for my area of expertise, when you talk in terms of education, all right, sometimes the challenge of this technology advancement is that we may face situations where we have very poor technology, what do you call this, facilities. So that also is what we do in the classroom. We also prepare our teachers, our students, to be teachers, that in the event that there is very little or very minimum technology, how do you still go about teaching and still trying to provide the students in your classroom, okay, with the experience of technology? Because you cannot teach just because there is no technology. You cannot say, I will just teach them chalk and talk. No, because they will be disadvantaged when they go out to the real world. They don't have any experience at all with this technology. So what we do is, in the class, when we have our classes, our lectures uses technology, but at the same time we also discuss what happens in the event that I don't have this kind of technology, but we still need to prepare the students, okay, so that they experience this kind of technology for them to be on the same footing as other people. Sekurang-kurangnya, at least, very minimum. I was very impressed once upon a time where there was this teacher, I think in Africa or in India. He was trying to teach a group of girls in a very remote village, okay, about the computer. But there was no computer, but he only had chalk and talk. So he actually drew the keyboard on the board. He literally drew the keyboard on the board and showed the students, this is what a computer keyboard looks like. So that if the students were to go out one day and come across a computer keyboard, they would have seen, even though they never touched, but at least they were exposed to it. So that is in the field of education. Okay, this is how the institution prepares, okay, our teachers who are out there, who are going to be involved in promoting STEM and enhancing STEM among students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suzy. And last but not least, how about Dr. Nadia opinion about this question?
Oh, okay. Okay, I read it. Okay, the technology advancements prepare the student in background STEMs for the changing job market. Okay, I know that right now we are facing, how to say, a lot of students nowadays lack of in science, interest in science. So that's why the STEMs is, that's why STEM is, we have STEM right now, because we know, we can see that the percentage of students who want to pursue in science is currently dropped. Okay, so that's why STEM is, okay, we approach, okay. So because we hope that in the future the student will take more science background, any chemistry, doesn't matter, chemistry or biology or physics, any science, STEM background, so that you need to remember that science also can change the job market as a researcher, as an academic. Okay, you need science. Okay, let's say I take a simple example, phone. Okay, now the smartphones. You want to put a smartphone right now, you need a science, right? You need to learn. I'm sure the one that make the smartphones learn about science before this, which is very important. So they make a research how to make smartphone. So science is very important. That's why we introduce the STEMs to our young learner, to let them see actually STEM science is very interesting, so that they will choose science background or engineering background, maths background in the future, in hope that the job market in the future still available in terms of a researcher or a scientist or science officer, something like that. Okay, so yeah, I think first is very important. Okay, STEM to introduce right now, and I hope in the future it will change the job market. Okay, but right now, currently, I'm sure that is for the science graduate still have the job market out there. Don't worry. Okay, our graduate students I can see few of our grad students straightforward after graduate got a job, okay, at the Top Glove, okay, at the pharmaceutical company as a QS, QA, so as a lab testing, okay. I contact with my FIP student. They are currently working in as a lab testing. That's me. They see it as a chemistry, you know. So don't worry about the job market in the future. Okay, as long you know what you want to do, inshallah, there will be a rezeki for you as a science background. Okay, all right. I think that's all for me. Okay.
Okay. Since this is the last question, I want to thank for both Dr. Nadia and Dr. Suzy for the impressive opinion and answer for Q&A session. So I will pass the floor to Izati.
All right. It appears that our time together is almost coming to an end. However, even with this limited time, I'm sure we all have gained lots of new valuable information and insights from our talk today. On behalf of Dr. Daniel, we apologize for not being able to have him with us for the session today. He was and is still facing technical difficulties, therefore, he couldn't make it to the discussion. However, worry not. We hope to work with him again in the future and we wish him the best. Before we end this talk, let's hear some last words from our panels. First, Dr. Suzy.
Okay, thank you, Zati and Faris. I think what I would like to say is do what you love, do it well, do it sincerely. Science is a tough area, but it is an important area, and it's not just for specific people. And for me, as an educator, I see achievement not only in grades. Grades are important; they are one way of indicating success. But for me, most importantly, is that you might get a B, but what is important is when you go out in the workforce, are you able to make a difference? I think that's a measurement of success for me when I tell my students, when you go out there, you do what you love, you contribute, no matter how small it is, but there's a contribution which you've added on to whatever that you choose to do. So for all of you out there, it's okay, it's tough, nothing is easy in life. Like my parents always say, you want to eat, you have to cook, you have to wash, you have to do a lot of things. Okay, it's just not the food just don't go to your mouth. So have a positive mindset. Okay, we all have our limitations, but I think we need to love ourselves and what we can do. And if we understand ourselves first, and we will be able to thrive to be the best of who we are. I think that is very important. Be the best that you can be, and you will achieve and be successful in your own terms. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Suzy. Now let's hear some last words from Dr. Nadia.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me for this panel forum about STEM. Okay, so I would like to say to all of you outside there, for our graduate students, okay, STEM is a very it's a good platform. Okay, it's a positive platform to introduce to our future, our young learner for our future. So as Dr. Suzy said, do whatever you want in your life. That's the first thing. Okay, you want to go on academic as an academic, or you want to go in industry. I say both is subjective. Both it have the challenge, both have the opportunity. But however, you need to choose which pathway that you want actually. Okay, and once you decided to do that one, you must don't give up, because in anything you do in your life, you have up and down. Okay, pursue my master, pursue my PhD. Also, I have my up and down. All my friends, different background, not only chemistry, they have like ecology, they have business, PhD, management, all they're telling the same story. They have difficult pathway. Okay, the journey is not straight. They will like this. Okay, so don't give up. For those who science background, join the STEM. Okay, make it the STEM as interesting for our young learner so that they can interest to pursue the science in the future. For those teachers outside there who probably going to teach science, yes, I wish all the best. Good luck. You are the best. Please continue pushing our young student, our kindergarten or primary student, secondary student to go into STEM background. Okay. All right. I think that's all for me, and all the best and good luck. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Thank you so much to our panelists for their time and their valuable opinions. Before we go, let us move on to the photography session. On my count, 1, 2, 3, smile. One more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. Dear participants, thank you for your time and focus throughout the session today. We sincerely hope what we have gained will be beneficial to all of us. As for University Putra Malaysia students, don't forget to scan the QR code that appeared on the screen later to gain your attendance merits. With that, whatever goodness from this talk is from the Almighty and the bad ones is from my own. Until we meet again, thank you for your time and goodbye.
Melangkah jauh itu harapmu, rakyat gembira itu jasamu, bersatu padu tujuh buahmu, di bawah payung negaraku. Tegaklah panji-panjiku, tabik hormatku ini untukmu. Taat dan setia padamu ini janjiku. Untukmu aku berjuang, namamu ku bawa ke hadapan. Ini negaraku, Brunei Darussalam.
Ayu negaraku mari maju, ayu bangsaku bukanlah kamu. Kibarkan megah bendera kita, genggam erat panji negara. Yuk angkat tangan di dada, dengan semangat laungkan bersama. Tanah ini negara kita, Brunei Darussalam. Tegaklah panji-panjiku, tabik hormatku ini untukmu. Kearah setia padamu ini janjiku. Untukmu aku berjuang, namamu ku bawa ke hadapan. Ini negaraku, Brunei Darussalam. Di sini aku dilahirkan, di sini aku dibesarkan. Panji di dada takkan hilang, panji di dada takkan hilang.
Di sini aku dilahirkan, di sini aku dibesarkan. Panji di dada takkan hilang, panji di dada takkan hilang.
Totok mutap pagunku, do udang bawangku.
Aman damai negaraku, aman damai pagunku.
Aman damai negaraku, aman damai demi kau. Aman damai negaraku.
Tetap melaung kemegahan panji-panji, falsafah tanah ibuku. Seraya pulanya mengalir darah jatiku. Terasa bangga bak anak kecil yang dijaga. Kini kembanglah semangat untuk diri berjasa. Kau memperkasa tak kala diri terlupa. Duniawi dan ukrawi diperingati jua. Terjaga dariku lahir hingganya ketua. Ketaatanku pada negaraku takkan berubah. Ini negaraku, pancarona rakyat menunjukkan muafakat keagungan seluruh negara. Jadi ku bersyukur lahir di bumi yang tersimpan elok. Takkanlah ku inginkan memandang samudra. Kemenangan negara, kemenangan bersama. Kibarkanlah bendera demi negara kita, di tempat rakyat berbudaya dan sentiasa beri salam. Negaraku Brunei Darussalam. Tegaklah panji-panjiku, tabik hormatku ini untukmu. Kearah setia padamu ini janjiku. Untukmu aku berjuang, namamu ku bawa ke hadapan. Ini negaraku, Brunei Darussalam. Di sini aku dilahirkan, di sini aku dibesarkan. Panji di dada takkan hilang, panji di dada takkan hilang.
Di sini aku dilahirkan, di sini aku dibesarkan. Panji di dada takkan hilang, panji di dada
peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan, nilai hormat keras diminda, daya cipta luar biasa, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak berdiri, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani, Malaysia madani.
Melangkah jauh itu harapmu, rakyat gembira itu jasamu, bersatu padu tujuh buatmu, di bawah payung negaraku. Tegaklah panji-panjiku, tabik hormatku ini untukmu, taat dan setia padamu ini janjiku. Untukmu aku berjuang, namamu ku bawa ke hadapan. Ini negaraku, Brunei Darussalam.
Ayu negaraku mari maju, ayu bangsaku buka langkahmu, kibarkan megah bendera kita, genggam erat panji negara. Yuk angkat tangan di dada, dengan semangat laungkan bersama, tanah ini negara kita, Brunei Darussalam. Tegaklah panji-panjiku, tabik hormatku ini untukmu, kearah setia padamu ini janjiku. Untukmu aku berjuang, namamu ku bawa